Little Lion's Roar. One morning, Little Lion was staring across the valley. 3 days earlier, his daddy had gone to visit Crocodile on the other side of the jungle. Little Lion was looking forward to seeing him again, and he sat watching the trees to see if anyone might be coming. But no one came, so he decided to think about something else. "I wish I could roar," said the little lion. "I still can't do it." "Don't worry," said Mommy Lion. "You'll get the hang of it." "But Daddy will be home soon," said the little lion. "Can't you teach me before then?" "Okay, I'll try," said Mommy Lion. "It goes like this. Roar!" Little Lion threw back his head and tried as hard as he could. Whoa! "Yes," said little Mommy Lion. "That's pretty good. But I want to be able to roar for real," said the little lion. And he sat back down with a frown. Then the little lion's friend Monkey came back, swinging through the trees. "Hello, little lion," he said. "How are you?" "I still can't roar," said the little lion. "Don't worry," said the monkey. "My noise is hard to make too, but I learned it in the end." "How does it go?" said the little lion. "Woo, woo, 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 woo." "That sounds pretty easy," said the lion. "I bet I could do that." "Woo, woo." "Very good," said the monkey. "But I want to sound like a lion, but not a monkey," said the little lion. Then the little lion's friend Parrot landed on a tree. "Hello," she said. "What are you all up to today?" "Someone's learning how to roar," said Mommy Lion. "I'm not learning anything," said the little lion. "How did you learn your noise, Parrot?" "Well, I just sort of did it," said Parrot. "I just sort of went squawk." "Squawk?" said the little lion. "Gosh," said Parrot, "you squawk very well for a lion." Then they heard another noise. "Oh," said Elephant. "Hello, Elephant," said Parrot. "Hello," said Elephant. "Are you guys having a party?" "Sort of," said Mommy Lion. "Little Lion is learning lots of noises." "Well," laughed Elephant, "you won't be able to sound like me, I'm afraid." "Oh!" Little Lion took a deep breath. "Ah, ooh," he said. "Goodness gracious," said Elephant, "a lion that sounds like an elephant. Well, well, well." "Yes, Parrot, and he can squawk too. And he can sound just like me," said Monkey. "But I'm not a parrot, or an elephant, or a monkey," said the little lion. "I'm a lion, and lions go, I give up." "Look," said Parrot, "I think I can see someone else coming, over there between the trees. Maybe it's Cheetah. You can learn another noise." Everyone waited to see who it would be. "I don't care who it is," said the little lion. "I can't roar, and I'm just going to sit here and feel sorry for myself." "Why are you going to do that, little cub?" said a familiar voice. Little Lion looked up and saw Daddy Lion standing right in front of him, and then something else that took everyone by surprise. "Roar, roar, roar," said the little lion. "Well," said Daddy Lion, "that's roar, 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 roar," said the little lion, and he jumped up and licked Daddy Lion on the nose. "I didn't know you'd learn to roar while I was away," said Daddy Lion. "I didn't," said Little Lion. I did. Roar, roar, roar." "Roar," said Daddy Lion, and all the others laughed and cheered. "How did you learn?" said Daddy Lion. "I'll tell you later," said Little Lion. "But first I'm going to do lots more roaring." and he threw his head back and roared as loud as he could, and the sound echoed across the valley to the far side of the jungle and up into the evening sky. And that is how the little lion learned to roar.
This is The Lion and the Mouse, which is a tale of friendship. One day, a lion was taking a nice nap in the warm sun. Nearby, a busy little mouse scurried about looking for berries, but all the berries were too high for her to reach. Then the mouse spotted a lovely bunch of berries that she could reach by climbing the rock below them. When she did, the mouse discovered that she hadn't climbed a rock at all. She had climbed right on top of a lion's head. The lion did not like being bothered while he was sleeping. He awoke with a loud grumble. "Who dares to tickle my head while I'm taking a nap?" roared the lion. The mouse could see how angry the lion was with her, so she jumped off his head and started to run away. The lion grabbed for the little mouse as quickly as he could, but she was too quick, and he just missed her. The quick little mouse hurried to get away from the lion. She zigged and zagged through the grass, but the lion was always just one step behind. At last, the lion chased the mouse right back to where they had started. The poor little mouse was too tired to run anymore, and the lion scooped her up in his huge paw. "Little mouse," roared the lion, "don't you know that I am the king of the forest? Why did you wake me up from my pleasant nap by tickling my head?" "Oh, please, lion," said the mouse. "I was only trying to get some lovely berries." "Just see how much you like it when I tickle your head," said the lion. "Please, lion," pleaded the mouse. "If you spare me, I am sure I will be able to help you someday." Suddenly, the lion began to smile, and then he began to laugh. "How could you, a tiny mouse, help the most powerful animal in the forest?" he chuckled. "That's so funny. I'll let you go this time." Then the lion laughed some more. He rolled over on his back, kicking and roaring with laughter. The mouse had to leap out of his way to avoid being crushed. Off she ran. Still tickling, still chuckling, the lion got up and realized he was hungry. He set out to find some lunch, and it wasn't long before he smelled food. Walking toward the good smell, the lion got caught in a trap set by hunters. The lion was stuck in the strong ropes, and the more he struggled, the tighter they held him. Fearing the hunters would return soon, the terrified lion roared for help. The mouse heard the lion's roars from far away. At first, she was a little afraid to go back, thinking the lion might hurt her. But the lion's cry for help made the mouse sad, and she remembered the promise she made to help him. The mouse hurried to the lion, was tangled in the trap. "Oh, lion," said the mouse, "I know what it feels like to be caught, but you don't need to worry. I'll try to help you." "I don't think there's anything you can do," said the lion. "These ropes are very strong. I pushed and pulled with all my might, but I can't get free." Suddenly, the mouse said, "I have an idea. Just hold still, and I'll get to work." She quickly began chewing through the thick ropes with her small, sharp teeth. She worked and worked, and before long, the mouse had chewed through enough rope for the lion to get out of the trap. Soon the lion wriggled out of the trap. He was very grateful to the mouse. "Mouse," he said, "I thank you for saving me, and I'm sorry that I laughed at you before." Then the lion scooped up the mouse and placed her on his head. He carried her back to the berry bush and laid down under it. "Mouse," he said, "I want you to reach up and pick one of those berries that you wanted earlier today." The mouse plucked the biggest berry she could find. The lion took the mouse off his head and held her in his paw. "Let's stick together," he said. "I can help you reach the berries, and you can get me out of a tight spot now and then." "Okay," said the mouse, and they've been friends ever since. Friendship. Friendship is a wonderful virtue. The more people you share it with, the better it is. Everyone likes to spend time with old friends. In this story, the lion and the mouse discover how much fun it is to make new friends. Sometimes, though it's hard to be friends, at first the lion was angry with the mouse and did not want to be friends. The mouse was afraid because the lion was mean and he had laughed at her. In the end, the lion and the mouse learn that it's better to be nice than to be mean. They find out that even though they are very different, they can still be good friends.
Just Go to Bed by Mercer Mayer. Just go to bed. I'm a cowboy and I round up cows. I can lasso anything. Dad says it's time for the cowboy to come inside and get ready for bed. I am a general and I have to stop the enemy army with my tank. Dad says it's time for the general to take a bath. I am a space cadet and I zoom to the moon. I capture a robot with my ray gun. Dad says this giant robot has captured the space cadet and is going to put him in the bathtub right now. I am a sea monster attacking a ship. Dad says it's time for the sea monster to have a snack. I am a zookeeper feeding my hungry animals. Dad says feeding time is over. Here are the zookeeper's pajamas. I'm a super critter flying over the city. I'm a train engineer being chased by bandits. Dad says, the bandit chief has caught you, so put on your pajamas. But I'm a race car driver and I just speed away. Dad says, the race is over. Now put on these pajamas and go to bed. I'm a bunny hopping around my garden. Dad says, just go to bed. But I'm a bunny, and bunnies don't sleep in a bed. Mom says, shh. Dad says, go to sleep. Well, maybe a tired bunny could sleep in a bed, just this once. Pete the Cat and the Tip-Top Treehouse. Pete the Cat has built a treehouse. He calls his friends. I just built a treehouse, he says. Come over to play. Pete's friends show up. This is great, says his friends, but it is a little small. You're right, says Pete. It is too small. I will fix that. Pete starts building a bigger treehouse. Do you want some help? asks Callie. Sure, says Pete. Callie carries up more wood. Can I help too? asks Marty. Sure, says Pete. Together they build a tower for Pete's treehouse. Let's have a treehouse party, says Marty. A party, says Pete. But what will everyone do? I can help with that, says Emma. This is great, says Pete. Let's do it. Pete, Marty, Callie, Emma, and Grumpy Toad get right to work. They build an arcade. They fill it with fun games. They build a bowling alley. It has 20 lanes. They build a wave pool. Pete can surf indoors. They build a movie theater and a skate park and a climbing wall and an ice rink. Pete's friends all come for the party. Pete takes one friend to the bowling alley. He takes one friend to the movie theater. Pete takes one friend to the skate park. Pete lets one friend surf in the wave pool. Is everyone here? Asks Pete. Yeah, but we're all alone, his friends say. We came to play with each other. Oh, says Pete. Everyone meet down at the jungle gym. Everyone climbs down. This treehouse is amazing, says his friends. Thanks, says Pete. I'm so glad it brought us all together.
This is the story of the fisherman and his wife. There once upon a time was a fisherman who lived with his wife in a pig-sty close by the sea. And every day he went out fishing. And he fished and he fished. And once he was sitting with his rod looking at the clear water, he sat and he sat. Then his line suddenly went down, far down below. And when he drew it up again, he brought out a large flounder. Then the flounder said to him, "Hark, you fisherman, I pray you let me live. I am no flounder really, but I am an enchanted prince. What good will it do you to kill me? I should not be good to eat. Put me in the water again and let me go." "Come," said the fisherman, "there is no need for so many words about it. A fish that can talk I should certainly let go, anyhow." And with that he put him back into the clear water, and the flounder went to the bottom, leaving a long streak of blood behind him. Then the fisherman got up and went home to his wife in the pigsty. "Husband," said the woman, "have you caught nothing today?" "No," said the man. "I did catch a flounder who said he was an enchanted prince, so I let him go." "Did you not wish for anything first?" said the woman. "No," said the man. "What should I wish for?" "Ah," said the woman, "it is surely hard to have to live always in this pigsty which stinks and is so disgusting. You might have wished for a little hut for us. Go back and call him. Tell him we want to have a little hut. He will certainly give us that." "Ah," said the man, "why should I go there again?" "Why," said the woman, "you did catch him, and you did let him go again. He is sure to do it. Go at once." The man still did not quite like to go, but did not like to oppose his wife either. So he went to the sea. When he got there, the sea was all green and yellow and no longer smooth. So he stood still and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray thee, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, wills not as I'd have her will." Then the flounder came swimming to him and said, "Well, what does she want then?" "Ah," said the man, "I did catch you, and my wife says I really ought to have wished for something. She does not like to live in the pigsty any longer. She would like to have a hut." "Go then," said the flounder. "She has it already." When the man went home, his wife was no longer in the sty, but instead of it there stood a hut, and she was sitting on a bench before the door. Then she took him by the hand and said to him, "Just come inside. Look, now isn't this a great deal better?" So they went in, and there was a small porch, and a pretty little parlor, and a bedroom, and a kitchen, and a pantry, with the best of furniture, and fitted up with the most beautiful things made of tin and brass, whatsoever was wanted. And behind the hut there was a small yard, with hens and ducks, and a little garden with flowers and fruit. "Look," said the wife, "is not that nice?" "Yes," said the husband, "and so it shall remain. Now we will live quite contented." "We will think about that," said the wife. With that, they ate something and went to bed. Everything went well for a week or a fortnight, and then the woman said, "Hark you, husband, This hut is far too small for us, and the garden and the yard are little. The flounder might just as well give us a larger house. I should like to live in a great stone castle. Go to the flounder and tell him to give us a castle." "Ah, wife," said the man, "the hut is quite good enough. Why would we live in a castle?" "What?" said the woman. "Just go there. The flounder can always do that." "No, wife," said the man. "The flounder has just given us the hut. I do not like to go back so soon. It might make him angry." "Go," said the woman. "He can do it quite easily and will be glad to see you do it. Just you go to him." The man's heart grew heavy, and he would not go. He said to himself, "It is not right," and yet he went. And when he came to the sea, the water was quite purple and dark blue and gray and thick and no longer so green and yellow, but it was still quiet. And he stood there and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray thee, here to me. For my wife, good Isabel, will not as I'd have her will." "Well, what does she want now?" said the flounder. "Alas," said the man, half scared, "she wants to live in a great stone castle." "Go to it then. She is standing before the door," said the flounder. Then the man went away, intending to go home, but when he got there, he found a great stone palace, and his wife was just standing on the steps going in, and she took him by the hand and said, "Come in." So he went in with her, and in the castle was a great hall paved with marble, and many servants who flung wide the doors, and the walls were all bright with beautiful hangings, and in the rooms were chairs and tables of pure gold, and crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and all the rooms and bedrooms had carpets, and the food and wine of the very best were standing on the tables, so that they were nearly broke down beneath. Behind the house, too, there was a great courtyard, with stables of horses and cows and the very best of carriages. There was a magnificent large garden, too, with the most beautiful flowers and fruit trees, and a park quite half a mile long, in which were stags, deers, and hares, and everything that could be desired. "Come," said the woman, "isn't that beautiful?" "Yes, indeed," said the man. "Now let it be, and we will live in this beautiful castle and be content." "We will consider about that," said the woman, "and sleep upon it." Thereupon they went to bed. Next morning the wife awoke first, and it was just daybreak, and from her bed she saw the beautiful country lying before her. Her husband was still stretching himself, so she poked him in the side with her elbow and said, "Get up, husband, and just peep out of the window. Look you, couldn't be we the king of the land? Go to the flounder, we will be king." "Ah, wife," said the man, "why should we be king? I do not want to be king." "Well," said the wife, "if you won't be king, I will. Go to the flounder, for I will be king." "Ah, wife," said the man, "why do you want to be king? I do not like to say that to him." "Why not?" said the woman. "Go to him in this instant. I must be king." So the man went and was quite unhappy because his wife wished to be king. "It is not right. It is not right," thought he. He did not wish to go, but yet he went. And when he came to the sea, it was quite dark gray, and the water heavy from below, and smelt putrid. Then he went and stood by it and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray thee, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, will not as I'd have her will." "Well, what does she want now?" said the flounder. "Alas," said the man, "she wants to be king." "Go to her. She is king already." So the man went, and when he came to the palace, the castle had become much larger, and had a great tower and magnificent ornaments. And the sentinel was standing before the door, and there were numbers of soldiers with kettle drums and trumpets. And when he went inside the house, everything was of real marble and gold, with velvet covers and great golden tassels. Then the doors of the hall were open, and there was the court in all of its splendor, and his wife was sitting on a high throne of gold and diamonds, with a great crown of gold on her head, and a scepter of pure gold and jewels in her hand. And on both sides of her stood her maids in waiting in a row, each of them always one head shorter than the last. Then he went and stood before her and said, "Ah, wife, and now you are king." "Yes," said the woman, "now I am king." So he stood and looked at her, and when he looked at her and thus for some time, he said, "And now that you are king, let all else be. Now we will wish for nothing more." "No, husband," said the woman quite anxiously. "I find time passes very heavily. I can bear it no longer. Go to the flounder. I am king, but I must be emperor too." "Oh, wife, why do you wish to be emperor?" "Husband," she said, "go to the flounder. I will be emperor." "Alas, wife," said the man, "he cannot make you emperor." "I may not say that to the fish. There is only one emperor in the land. An emperor the flounder cannot make you. I assure you he cannot." "What?" said the woman. "I am the king, and you are nothing but my husband. Will you go in this moment? Go at once. If he can make a king, he can make an emperor. I will be emperor. Go instantly." So he was forced to go. As the man went, however, he was troubled in mind and thought to himself, "It will not end well. It will not end well. Emperor is too shameless. The flounder will at last be tired out." With that he reached the sea, and the sea was quite black and thick, and began to boil up from below, so that it threw up bubbles, and such a sharp wind blew over it that curdled, and the man was afraid. Then he went and stood by it and said, "Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray thee, here to me, for my wife, good Isabel, will not as I'd have her will." "Well, what does she want now?" said the flounder. "Alas, flounder," said he, "my wife wants to be emperor." "Go to her," said the flounder. "She is emperor already." So the man went, and when he got there, the whole palace was made of polished marble, with alabaster figures and golden ornaments, and soldiers were marching before the door blowing trumpets and beating cymbals and drums. And in the house, barons and counts and dukes were going about as servants. They opened the doors to him, which were of pure gold. And when he entered, there sat his wife on a throne, which was made of one piece of gold and was quite 2 miles high. And she wore a great golden crown that was 3 yards high, and set with diamonds and carbuncles, and in one hand she had a scepter, and in the other hand the imperial orb. And on both sides of her stood the yeomen of the guards in 2 rows, each being smaller than the one before him, from the biggest giant, who was 2 miles high, to the very smallest dwarf, just as big as my little finger. And before it stood a number of princes and dukes. Then the man went and stood among them and said, "Wife, are you emperor now?" "Yes," said she, "now I am emperor." Then he stood and looked at her well, and when he had looked at her, and thus for some time, he said, "Ah, wife, be content, now that you are emperor." "Husband," said she, "why are you standing there? Now I am emperor, but I will be pope too. Go to the flounder." "Oh, wife," said the man, "what will you wish for now? You cannot be pope. There is but one Christendom. He cannot make you pope." "Husband," said she, "I will be pope. Go immediately. I must be pope this very day." "No, wife," said the man, "I do not like to say that to him. That would not do. It is too much. It's too much. The flounder can't make you pope." "Husband," said she, "what nonsense. If he can make an emperor, he can make a pope. Go to him directly. I am emperor, and you are nothing but my husband. Will you go at once?" Then he was afraid and went, but he was quite faint, and shivered and shook, and his knees and legs trembled. And a high wind blew over the land, and the clouds flew. And towards evening all grew dark, and leaves fell from the trees, and the water rose and roared as it went boiling, and splashed upon the shore. And in the distance he saw ships, which were firing guns in their sore need, pitching and tossing on the waves. And yet in the midst of the sky there was still a small patch of blue, though on every side it was red in a heavy storm. So full of despair, he went and stood in much fear and said, Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray thee, here to me. For my wife, good Isabel, will not as I'd have her will. Well, what does she want now? Said the flounder. Alas, said the man, she wants to be Pope. Go to her then, said the flounder. She is Pope already. So he went, and when he got there, he saw what seemed to be a large church surrounded by palaces. He pushed his way through the crowd. Inside, however, everything was lighted up with thousands and thousands of candles, and his wife was clad in gold, and she was sitting on a much higher throne, and had 3 golden crowns on, and round about there was much celestial splendor, and on both sides of her was a row of candles, the largest of which was tall, the very tallest tower, down to the very smallest kitchen candle, and all the emperors and kings were on their knees before her, kissing her shoe. Wife, said the man, and looked attentively at her, are you now Pope? Yes, said she, I am Pope. So he stood and looked at her, and it was just as if he was looking at the bright sun. When he had stood looking at her thus for a short time, he said, Ah, wife, if you are Pope, do let well alone. But she looked as stiff as a post and did not move or show any signs of life. Then said he, Wife, now that you are Pope, be satisfied. You cannot become anything greater now. I will consider about that, said the woman. Thereupon they both went to bed, but she was not satisfied, and greediness let her have no sleep, for she was continually thinking what there was left to be for her. The man slept well and soundly, for he had run about a great deal during the day. But the woman could not fall asleep at all, and flung herself from one side to the other whole night through, thinking always what more was left for her to be, but unable to call to mind anything else. At length the sun began to rise, and when the woman saw the red of dawn, she sat up in the bed and looked at it. And when through the window she saw the sun thus rise, she said, Can I too order the sun and moon to rise? Husband, she said, poking him in the ribs with her elbows, wake up. Go to the flounder, for I wish to be even as God. The man was still half asleep, but he was so horrified that he fell out of the bed. He thought he must have heard amiss and rubbed his eyes and said, Wife, what are you saying? Husband, said she, if I can order the sun and moon to rise, and have to look on to see the sun and moon rising, I bear it. I shall now know what it is to have another happy hour unless I can make them rise myself. Then she looked at him so terribly that a shudder ran over him and said, Go at once. I wish to be like unto God. Alas, wife, said the man, falling on his knees before her, the flounder cannot do that. He can make an emperor and a pope. I beseech you, go on as you are and be Pope. Then she fell into a rage, and her hair flew wildly about her head. She tore open her bodice, kicked him with her foot, and screamed, I can't stand it. I can't stand it any longer. Will you go this instant? Then he put on his trousers and ran away like a madman. But outside a great storm was raging and blowing so hard that he could scarcely keep his feet. Houses and trees toppled over. The mountains trembled. Rocks rolled into the sea. The sky was pitch black, and it thundered and lightened. And the sea came in with black waves, and high as church towers and mountains, and all with crests of white foam at the top. Then he cried, but could not hear his own words. Flounder, flounder in the sea, come, I pray thee, here to me. For my wife, good Isabel, will not as I'd have her will. Well, what does she want now? Said the flounder. Alas, said he, she wants to be like unto God. Go to her, and you will find her back again in the pigsty, and there are still living there to this day.